Let's move on to this story this hour. Former Eskom boss Matshela Koko is continuing with his testimony at the state capture inquiry today. The former power utility CEO is giving evidence about his tenure at the parastatal. Just yesterday, the commission heard evidence from a travel agency that handled trips for Gupta associate Salim Essa. That agency says Koko was one of the people it planned travels for. eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo is tracking proceedings as always. And Kaya, these proceedings were off to a rocky start this morning. Matshela Koko accusing evidence leader advocate Pule Seleka of misrepresenting his statement. How so?
Well, that's right, Tsembegile. So he was really predicating it on, of course, the testimony by the two travel agents. At some point, one of the witnesses said, in fact, some of the paragraphs in her affidavit were actually compiled alongside with her colleagues. So, of course, then Mr. Koko was saying there was a misrepresentation in terms of that particular affidavit, but also he went as far as accusing the commission of coaching witnesses to drive a certain narrative. And of course, we know that the chair of the inquiry, Tempekile, has always been at pains to say that there is no predetermined outcome. All witnesses really come and tell their side of the story, then he will make his mind up. But let's take a listen to this interaction.
I'm going to put a stop to this type of line that put words in my mouth that I never said, when the transcripts are in black and white. I'm saying this, Chair, because I went to bed last night very aggrieved because I watched the traveling agents here. I watched them reading paragraphs in their affidavit that they disowned. I've constantly told you that your legal team and your investigating people are coaching these weaknesses to the extent that they come here and say, this is not me. I did not write this. And nothing happens. I wrote to you at the beginning that your investigators, Mr. Seleka in particular, are coaching big witnesses. I'm getting upset, but I don't like it.
As far as the Mr. Koko, obviously if you have something to say about the travel agents, you can deal with that in due course.
I do have.
But my recollection is that as far as you were concerned, as far as what they had to say about you, I didn't think that there was anything in dispute between your version and their version.
Away from the issue of the travel agents, there was a discussion about, at length in fact, about penalty fees that Eskom didn't claim. What were those fees for and why weren't they claimed?
Well, that's right, Tsembegile. So this has been a very contentious issue at Eskom surrounding the penalty fee that's actually amounted to over 2 billion rand. So there was a point where Eskom was receiving low-quality coal. So then, in terms of their own processes, if that happens, so that's how the claim came about. So then, of course, Mr. Koko said, for example, with a contract with Optimum. So that's where, for example, Eskom did not claim. So there was this particular agreement that was reached by Eskom. There was no board approval. So it is a bit of a very controversial issue as well, because Mr. Koko has also brought into the dimension the issue that in 2012, the current president, Cyril Ramaphosa, was the chairperson of Optimum. So also he went as far as indicating that the board really bent over backwards in accommodating Glencore, which was, of course, the previous owner of this particular issue. But, of course, now, during the course of the evening as well, Tempekile, is going to be really interesting because the former State Security Minister, David Mahlobo, will have an opportunity once again to testify. We know the controversies around the bags of cash that he allegedly received from some operatives within a state security agency, allegedly under the approval, of course, of then DG Arthur Fraser. So it's bound to be quite interesting.
Steve, there for now, eNCA reporter Khayelihle Khumalo tracking events at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry.